Bodyline, Bodyline, Bodyline. The Walmart of Lolita, the first place most Lolitas go to get their clothing. Yet, little known fact, Bodyline sells replicas. Hey YouTube, Coda here, and today is another Lolita Problems video. You knew it was coming. It's been a while, about a month. And I'm back with Bodyline sells replicas, yeah. Now, this is kind of like an old-ish topic, and it's only fitting that today I'm wearing one of my favorite Bodyline garments to discuss with you guys a topic that's been talked about a bit in the community. I mean, there's a few databases that list replicas of certain brand items, and Lolita Tips on Tumblr discusses this quite often. She gets questions regarding Bodyline's replicas and stuff like that, which I will link all their posts down below in the description. But when I got into Lolita fashion, it was like one of those things that everyone was like, Bodyline, it's a great place to start. Bodyline is the best place to go for a beginner Lolita. Yet somehow at the same time, the people that say Bodyline's a good place for you low-budget people to go get Lolita fashion also go back and say, oh my gosh, you're wearing a replica? And it seems rather counterintuitive, don't you think? You don't want them to wear replicas, but you push them in the direction where they unknowingly purchase a replica. And if you don't know personally any of Bodyline's replicas, or you just haven't heard about any of them, I made a list of the big ones they've made from the Godly Few. So they've made quite a few of those. The most popular ones are the replica of Angelic Pretty's Fruit Parlor, Angelic Pretty's Melody Doll, and Innocent World's Puppy. They were all rather popular on Bodyline, and I know a lot of people that actually purchased them, and they had no idea it was a carbon copy. They've also made replicas of certain shoes by Angelic Pretty, Baby the Starshine Bright, EP replica coats, all that. And it's kind of like dead silence when people bring up Bodyline, because they're like, no, it's just a great place to go shop. I mean, they don't sell replicas. But then if you actually look online and you do a little research, it turns out, yes, they do. They pop out replicas like nobody's business. Which is rather alarming, I think. Because replicas aren't inherently horrible. It's fine if you want to go purchase a replica for whatever reason it is that you cannot find the actual brand dress. That's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with it. I own replicas. They're in my closet. Well, currently they're in a box because I'm mailing them to somebody else. But replicas are perfectly fine when you know it's a replica. Bodyline, on the other hand, does not let you know a garment's a replica. They just pop their little number code on it and call it theirs, which is cheating and is stealing and is incredibly wrong on all moral standards. But did you know they make replicas of brands that aren't the Godly Few? And this is where we sort of dive into the weird zone for Bodyline, because there's a debate kind of going on in the fashion, I think, where people discuss and ask questions about Bodyline just came out with this print, but I found it on this other brand's website and they look really similar. And is it a replica? And people say, no, they're not. They say they're not. And it's not, I don't think it's because they are an indie brand, just a smaller unknown brand. I think the problem comes because Bodyline uses this little safety blanket. As Lolita Tips on Tumblr points out, Bodyline and brands like Infanta and Classical Puppets are using fabrics that are publicly available. The fact that the fabric is publicly available does not dismiss the fact that Bodyline has made carbon copy replicas of other dresses from lesser known brands. The most recent victim here is Infanta's Fruits Pie print, which released about the same time as Bodyline's print and is entirely cheaper than Bodyline's $85. If I remember correctly, Infanta is selling it for $35. Other victims of Bodyline's replicas, just on smaller brands, would be Classical Puppets Rose Bouquet and Infanta's Strawberry Sundae print. Now, Classical Puppets and Infanta do use the same fabrics sometimes. This crosses over, we've seen it before. And yes, it's because the fabric is publicly available. But do the dresses look exactly the same? No, they don't. Because they're two different companies doing their own individual thing with their stuff. By no means would Classical Puppets ever make a dress that looked exactly like an Infanta dress. Classical Puppets is kind of out there in the more aristocratic, gothic steampunk zone, whereas Infanta is more of fairy tales, sweet Lolita, and a little bit of gothic and classic. They would never cross over into the zones. So those two cannot be considered a replica. But Bodyline, on the other hand, their stuff is a freaking carbon copy, but it looks cheaply made, and for some reason is much higher price. And this is my reason for discussion, because Infanta's Fruits Pie print, honestly, wasn't publicized enough on Tumblr that Infanta did it first. They were released around the same time, but Infanta did come out with the dress first. Their price is much cheaper, and if you put Bodyline's dress right up against Infanta's, it's the same. The only difference between Bodyline's dress and Infanta's is that Bodyline is lacking the custom lacing that was put on Infanta's garment. And the sad part about it is, there are a lot of new Lolitas that I've noticed on Tumblr when I go through the Sweet Lolita tag and just all the tags Lolita related. I see a bunch of new girls going on Bodyline and getting this dress, when I want to say to them, don't waste your $85, get the $35 version from Infanta because it's so much better and it's higher quality. And it's because us more experienced Lolitas sort of push Bodyline on people. Like, when someone asks you, hey, where's a good place to get Lolita clothing but for more in my price range? The first place you're going to say is Bodyline. I know few people say brands like Chess Story, Infanta, and Magic Tea Party, and that's great. But the most, unison voice ever in Lolita fashion has been Bodyline. For beginners, go to Bodyline. That's what everyone says. And now we're stuck in this loop where these girls, unknowingly, because they're new and they may not have the resources or they may not have done the research to the point to realize that Bodyline sells replicas and that they're purchasing a replica, and then later they'll feel bad when an older Lolita comes up to them and tells them, you're an Ida for wearing a replica. It's quite problematic in my opinion, and I think there are a few ways we can solve this issue. One of them is to raise more awareness of the fact that, yes, Bodyline sometimes makes their own stuff, their own prints, and they do have the contest for prints, where they do ask artists to submit their own print and it may be put on a dress. But the majority of the time, the fabric they use is publicly available. Therefore, it's not Bodyline really making that print you're wearing. It's more Bodyline buying the fabric and putting the dress together with it. The next thing we should do is tell Lolitas that there are more places to shop than the Godly Few and Bodyline. I've said this before when I talked about the Godly Few and everything wrong with the Lolita community, but we really need to push the smaller brands. Just because they are on par with the Godly Few and their prices are cheaper relative to Bodyline. It's a good place for new Lolitas to start, and they'll be getting prints and garments that are more worth their while. Other things we can do about this would be to say and put out more on websites like Tumblr, Facebook, wherever you talk to other Lolitas or interact with the Lolita community. When you see Bodyline making a replica or a dress that is similar to a smaller brand's garment, point it out, say something about it. We as a community need to sort of drive for the information and sort of information gathering skills needed for this fashion, as this is not really a fashion where this stuff is put on the news, where there are big fashion shows for Bodyline or these smaller brands. A lot of the information gathering and knowing about print releases comes from your own personal research. So as older Lolitas, we really need to emphasize and sort of help newer Lolitas get the information they need. Because I don't know, I knew when I started out, I knew I needed to get information about stuff. I knew I didn't know everything. I knew I wasn't sure how to use, until like Pretty's website, I wasn't sure how to use Baby Starshine Bright. I wasn't sure how to even use My Lolita Dress or Closet Child. And I didn't know where to start to learn that information, because it seemed like whenever I asked, I hit a brick wall with people saying you need to do your research, when it's kind of difficult to do your research when you don't know what to be researching for. So again, pushing for these sort of databases where they list the replicas the Bodyline does, the discrepancies in what they're saying that sort of highlight and say, hey, new guys, hey, everybody, Bodyline is kind of lying here when they say that they made this themselves. Here's the information. Here are other brands that also use the same fabric as Bodyline, and you can make the choice for yourself. By all means, this does not mean that we should stop supporting Bodyline. This does not mean that we should say to new people coming into the fashion to not shop with them. It's really up to you personally if you want to continue supporting Bodyline. I 100% support Bodyline when they make stuff and they own up to if it's a replica or not. I know that Balloon Bears looks really similar to some other prints by other brands, and I'm fine with that, and I like it, and I enjoy wearing it. And that's me being an informed consumer. Bodyline kind of puts this brick in front of people so that they aren't a informed consumer. And that needs to stop. That needs to stop, and it begins with us. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, do the doobly do, whatever it is that you want to do. If you support Bodyline, you don't think they do replicas or anything like that, good for you. If you 100% agree with me, awesome. If you don't, that's okay. Either way, just some information about the new stuff going on with Bodyline, what they're doing, some of their sketchy stuff, and how we can sort of turn everything around. Anyway, I hope you guys have a very lovely day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!